Hello everyone, welcome to Just Academy. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basics of Katana and Renderman. So yeah, as you can see here, this is the default UI when you open the Katana for the first time. And yeah, let's first have a look into the user interface and getting started kind of stuffs. And once we are familiar with the basic stuffs and things like that, let's slowly dive into the look dev and lighting related stuffs. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have several different windows that are available for us to work with. So basically, you can take any window and you can place wherever that you want, and you can right click and you can move the tab to left dock so that it will split the tabs like this. And if you want, you can detach the tab and you can close, and you have some so you can just take here and you can place it by like this. So if you drop like this, it will just place your window just like this. And if you place it when you place it bottom of this or any side of this window, so it will split the window into two different parts, and it will align the window that you want like this. So, and you have several different presets for our user interface. So we have the lighting and look dev. So if you want, you can create your own user interface as well. So basically, I will choose rendering, and I'm going to show you how to create your own. So I'm going to change my catalog here and the node graph to here, and parameter, we can keep this as it is. I think this is fine to explain. Save the current layout. So you can give any name. I'm going to just give just the word. So now if you open, you can see you have this. I'm just going to select the lighting, and if you select my window user interface, so it will load the layout here. So yeah, that's pretty much for the UI, and let's have a look into the basic concepts. So basically, let's switch back to lighting. So I usually prefer to work with lighting, and let's change the monitor placement here. So yeah, let's keep it as it is. Let's close this. So maybe we can save this as my saved it. So yeah, we're pretty much that. So now, as you can see here, we have several different windows. So some windows are pretty much self-explanatory. So the viewer, so whatever we create, like importing geometry or creating lights or anything, will be available in the viewer. So viewer is pretty self-explanatory. You can prefer any other software like Maya, Houdini. So it is same. And we have the scene graph. Scene graph is pretty much like Maya's outliner, and so whatever you have in your scene, and so if you resolve the scene graph to a particular node, and whatever that node has will be reflected to this. So we will see that in a minute. And we have the node graph, so very important window. So we will work most of the times in the node graph. So yeah, so you can just press tab and you can create any node that you want like this. And you have the parameters window. So whatever node that you have created, the parameter will be appear here. So basically, when you create a node, you can see. So when I create a node, like let's say I'm going to create Alembic in. So as you can see here, if I select, it doesn't appear here. So but when I double click, so as you can see here, we have two different things enabled now. So one is green and the other one is purple. So as you can see here, once the green is enabled, basically the green flag, it's like a parameter editing flag. So whatever node that's enabled with this green flag will be, the parameters will be available to edit in the parameters window. So yeah, you can just click like this, or you can hover your mouse on top of the particular node and press E to enable the parameters to edit in the parameters view. So yeah, so the purple flag is a different story. So basically, so I'm going to we have the Alembic in here, and I'm just going to import two different models. So we have Importomatic here, we have Alembic in here. Basically, both the nodes are helped us to import the Alembic assets. So basically, the difference between both the nodes is, so by using Alembic in, you can import only one object, only one Alembic file at a time. But when you're using Importomatic, you can import as many files as you want. So it's just like press this plus button and then add Alembic, and you can choose whatever the Alembic file that you want. So in this case, I'm just going to use the Dragon file that I've got from Foundry's website. So yeah, as you can see here, I've imported the Dragon ABC Alembic here. So now I'm going to import Alembic, another Alembic file using the Alembic in. So let's go to the Alembic in node, and in the ABC asset browse, and I'm going to choose this character Remy Alembic file. So now, as you can see here, I have imported two different Alembic files, but as you can see here, we don't have anything in the viewer. So basically, the concept of viewing any objects in the viewer is we need to maintain some relationships between the node graph and the scene graph, and finally to the viewer. So let me explain the concept. So basically, so when this node is when this purple flag is enabled, you can see we have something called root, world, geo. So this is pretty much common, and this hierarchy is directly comes from this name. So whatever we are giving here will be available here. So basically, the hierarchy defines by the backslashes. So basically, if I want to create something like hello, so as you can see here, now my Remy character is part of this hello group. So yeah, as you can see here, you can even remove anything that you want here. So now you can see we have root and hello, and we have our Remy model here. Okay, so let's go back to the default one, and basically I don't want to mess with this structure, so this is going to be the default one. So for all the other nodes like camera create and material create, so basically it will automatically when you create a camera, it will automatically place your camera into root world camera, and then it will place your camera into that group, and the material and whatever that you create, lights, so it will create the corresponding folders into this root world. So we don't want to mess with this. So if you are working in a different studio and if you're following different structure, that is completely fine. So but by default we will follow this, so let's stick with this at this moment. So yeah, we have this Alembic in node here, so and we have the asset, and we can see our Remy is important, but I'm not able to see the character into the viewer. So I selected this, and maybe I can press F to focus. I'm pressing F and it doesn't work because I'm not able to see anything. So because some of you think it might be a bug or any issue in the software, but Katana works in that way only. So basically you need to expand your scene graph, and you need to make any polymesh to be visible in the scene graph. So whatever polymesh nodes that are visible in the scene graph will be visible in the viewer. As you can see here, now I'm able to see this particular object here. So as I'm opening other objects, so now you can see here I opened this, but it doesn't appear because we just exposed our group node. We haven't exposed our polymesh. So once I keep exposing the the polymesh nodes, it will be available in the viewer to see it. So you might think it is a bit of tedious process. Yeah, it is a tedious process, but let's say if you have a huge spaceship or a huge city with thousands of buildings in it, so you don't have to really load all the objects. So it is really a bad idea. So it really uses a lot of resources, and there will be a lot of computations going on. So it will never gonna happen that way. So basically, when you're working with large scenes, so you can make any part of the object to be visible in the viewer this way. But let me come to the point. So by doing like this, and if you want to open something this way, it will take so much of time, and it is a very tedious process. So basically, you can just double click and you can just close all the groups, and then you can make it to the default state, and you can open. In order to open, you can just double click and you can see now the whole group is now visible. But since if you have a complex geometry, this structure will be very complex to handle in the scene graph. So basically, this is just a way that you can expose a group, or I will use a different way to view the objects in the scene graph. Basically, the way is we will have a few different flags here in the scene graph. Basically, this one is the viewer visibility. So basically, whatever that you selected here, actually when you select just using a left mouse button, it just selects that group, but it doesn't select anything into that group. So we don't want that. I'm going to deselect this, and I'm going to press shift and left mouse so that it will select the whole geo, with all its children's. So once you selected this, it's still not visible here. So you need to enable this. You can see we have the same button in two different places. So wherever you click, so it will make your geometry. So whatever that you selected here will be appear here. So in this way, you don't even have to expand it. So we can keep this close, and we can keep our scene graph well organized, and you can just see it here. Like if it is highlighted in yellow, so its children and everything under this group is already selected. So you can just press shift and left mouse to deselect the scene group and its children as well. So this is very useful and very straightforward. So whatever node that you select here, whatever group that you select here, with your shift left mouse will be appear in the viewport. So this is actually really cool. So actually it doesn't appear in the viewport. Actually it doesn't load anything unless you want that particular object to be loaded into your Katana scene. So this is really a lifesaver. So yeah, since this is just a simple object, we don't have to worry too much about this. So let me just select everything under this. So here is my a Remy character that I have downloaded from A-Lab, which is an open source USD project that's being made by Animal Logic. So I would strongly recommend you guys to have a look into it. So there's a huge amount of free geometries available in that to work with. So yeah, and we have our head geo as well. So yeah, we have this here, and now you can see here I have another one which has my Dragon ABC Alembic. So even if I select this, enable this green flag, it doesn't appear here. But when I enable this purple flag, there you can see there's another box which is grayed out at this moment. Once you click it, you can see there are things changed in the scene graph. So basically you have two different ways to enable this purple flag. You can just hover your mouse on top of the node that you want, and you can press, oh sorry, I actually forgot it. Or yeah, V. So yeah, sometimes I forget this because I'm using many softwares. So yeah, you can just hold your mouse on top of any node that you want, and you can press V to enable the viewer, the scene graph resolver flag, or the purple flag on a node, and press E to the parameter. So in order to enable this parameters to editable in the parameters view. So yeah, once I enable this purple flag, so it will resolve this node. So at this moment, so as you can see here, the purple flag can be enabled only one node at a time, so that we always keep that in mind, because it is like a Nux viewer. So you can connect, you can select any node and press 1, it will automatically connect to the viewer. But we don't have any viewer node here, but we have some virtual connections that happens between the nodes and scene graph and the viewer. So as you can see here, we have the dragon object here, and let me enable the viewport visibility of the dragon geometry here. And I have two different geometries here. So how can I make both the geometries to be visible in my viewer? So it is pretty simple. So we can use merge. So this is very pretty much self-explanatory, like any other software, like Nuke or Houdini, so whatever node-based software. So as you can see here, you can just select, left mouse click and drag and drop on top of this merge node, and it will automatically make a connection here. And the same way I'm going to select it and connect it here. So as you can see here, so now both are selected. We have another way also to do the same operation. It is a simple one. You can select both the nodes and press M, so it will automatically create a merge node and it will automatically make your connections to work with. So now you can just enable like this, or you can press double click to enable both the flags of a node. So now as you can see here, if I view it from my scene graph, so let me change the name of this asset. Maybe this is fine. So maybe I can change this to character Remy so that we can easily identify this. Cool. So now you can see after I merge this, I have both the geometries available here. The character Remy is very small, so that we're not able to see it. Oh, maybe no. So we need to enable this here. So, and it's very small as well. So in your Alembic, so we don't have any options to scale this, but I'm going to use a transform to scale any scale or transform related stuffs. So basically you need to connect your transform like this, and you need to enable your parameters edit flag, and then you need to, so if I scale this, so it doesn't work, because actually the thing is we need to make our connections. And so first we need to select our the scene graph selection that we want, and we need to connect it here. And once you connect it here, now if you uniform scale this, so it will scale the geometry as you want. So actually if you want this to be scaled using a manipulator, you need to make sure in your transform 3D node, make sure your make interactive option is enabled, so it should be on yes. So now if I select this and so select the node, the scene graph location that you connected to your transform 3D, and now you have your manipulator available to edit. So basically you can press W, E, or to transform rotation and scale. So in this case I'm just going to scale, and I'm going to transform. So the transform and rotate handles or scale handles are pretty much self-explanatory. So so if you are familiar with Maya or any other software, so this is pretty much the same. So as you can see here, I have scaled it. Now I can see both of my geometries are visible now. So yeah, let's say let's try to create a simple render scene. So with this, and I'm going to use I'm going to create one more geometry. So in this case, I'm going to use the primitive create, and so basically the primitive create node is responsible for create some basic geometries here. So basically I just wanna make one more connection here, and so I'm just going to connect it this way, and let's select polyplane from this drop down menu. So once you created your polyplane, so it's already interactive, so you can select your polyplane, and yeah, so okay, so okay, so we can just scale it like this. So basically when you scale it this way, okay, you can just scale only one axis at a time. So but in order to scale, okay, so okay, it is my mistake. So I'm happy that I'm doing this mistake here. So I thought we have created it, but it wasn't visible in the viewport because we haven't enabled this viewer visibility flag. So actually we are working on a simple scene, so we don't have to worry about this at this moment. So we can enable everything that comes under this geo tab for now. So now if I select our primitive, so since the make interactive is S, so you can see we have our viewer handle is selectable. So let me explain another way of scaling. I mean, we don't have any uniform scale here, so we have a different option for that. So let's say if I press F and see it, so it just scale it in a particular direction. So we don't want that way. So I'm just going to copy this and paste expression instead of paste. So when you say paste, it just copy this value and paste it here. We don't want that. I'm just going to paste expression so that it will directly refer this particular parameter to this. So it is linked now. So if you change it here, so it will connect it to this now, and we don't have any y-axis for this plane, so that we don't see anything. And I'm going to paste and paste it as expression. Now you can see here, so everything is working fine. So as you can see here, so if you want to rotate this, so you can expand this triangle and press left mouse and rotate it or scale it in a particular axis like this. So yeah, this is cool. And I'm going to actually, when you change something, you can see here the particular parameter turned into yellow, which means we have made some changes. We have some local overrides in this node. So in this way, so whatever node that is like, let's say if you have a file from another artist, and if you don't know what that particular guy does, so you can just cross-check and verify. So whatever the parameters that are highlighted in yellow like this or edited by that particular artist, so that you can clearly understand what are the edits made into that scene or into that shader or whatever it is. So yeah, once you click this, it will revert back the value to its default. So yeah, this is really cool. And let me change its scale, and yeah, I think this will work. So yeah, we have our simple scene ready now. So I'm going to, so the next thing is we need to create our camera. So in order to create a camera, we have a camera create node. So this is a dedicated node that is responsible for creating cameras inside Katana. So if you want to bring any cameras from other 3D packages like Maya or Houdini, you have to use Alembic in or USD in. So basically USD is a different topic. We have different plans for separate USD videos in the future. So yeah, let's connect our camera here, or maybe you can use another merge and connect your cameras like this. So let's say I'm going to create multiple cameras, and yeah, so let's press double click, and now you can see here we have our camera now available here. So if you see it, as I've already explained, we have root, world, camera, and inside that we have our camera. So we don't want just the camera, but I want to rename this. So let me say render cam 01. So now you can see we have our camera got renamed properly. So now I'm going to just select our camera from this list. So once you created your camera, and if your camera is resolved by the scene graph using this purple flag, so if you enable your purple flag like this, so you can't see your camera because your camera create node comes after that merge node. So you always need to make sure, so if you can't see anything so in the scene graph, so you always need to make sure where is our scene graph resolve flag is enabled at this moment. So yeah, that is the first way to debug, so if you have a similar problem like this. So now let's enable from here, and now you can see we have our render cam. I'm just going to rename this. You can just select your node and press enter to rename just the node, not the scene graph location. It's just renaming the node, so it doesn't affect anything, as you can see here. So we have our render cam. Maybe we can change this to 01. So yeah, I'm just going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to create another merge node here. So I'm going to make this merge node connected here, and so yeah, maybe we can keep this like this, but I would like to create a dot by pressing D. So whatever node that you selected here, once you press it, press your dot button in your keyboard, so it will create a dot node, and I'm going to create another dot, and I'm going to place it something like this. Okay, so this is cool, and I'm just going to let's organize the scene a little bit so that it will be easy to understand once you have seen getting complex. So I'm just going to press tab and create a backdrop here. So yeah, so there's another useful information. So if you want to create a camera create node, or if you want to create a node that has name or with more than one words in it, so you can just type the first letters of those words. Like if you want to create a camera create, you don't need to type camera create, but you can just press CC and it will always bring your camera create node. So let's say if you want to create a render settings, you can just press RS, so it will bring the nodes that start with R and S. So yeah, so this is a really useful way to create nodes. And okay, so we have two different render cams. So as you can see here, we have resolved our camera, our node graph from this point. So but still I can't able to see another cam that I have created here. But the problem is, you can see here we have the clash in our names. So Katana is very picky in that, so it doesn't accept two different objects or cameras, whatever, with the same name. So you always keep that in mind. So I'm just going to rename this to RenderCam 2, and now you can see now our RenderCam 2 is visible here. So yeah, let's okay, we have two different cameras. That is enough at this moment. So once you create your camera, so you can see now our cameras are visible in this perspective drop down menu. So if you can't see your camera in this list, basically when you create a camera create or in Alembic so when you import a camera from another 3D package, if you can't see your camera, you always need to make sure. So if this include in cameras list is enabled or not. So if it is not enabled, so if I click, you can see I can see only the Rendercam01. So because we have disabled the Rendercam2 in the cameras list, so we don't want that. I'm just going to reset this, and yeah. So now if you see it, now I'm able to see both the cameras. So let's select our Rendercam1, select our Dragon Joe and press F, and now you can see here. So we can place our camera something like this, but as you can see here, so we have a square film gauge. So basically we need to set our render resolution to make sure we are working on the proper film gauge. So in order to make that work, we need to create a render setting. So the render settings node is a very essential node to render anything in Katana. So basically I've created a render settings node. So I'm just connecting here, and I'm going to double click to enable both the viewer visibility flag and the purple flag that is responsible for scene graph resolving. So now you can see here we have the render settings node has some parameters related to the common rendering, so not related to Renderman or Arnold or V-Ray or whatever it is. It is just the common render setting that related to Katana. So we have the camera name. So basically we need to select our camera from the scene. So as you can see here, we have a result of scene graph from this. So we have both the cameras. At this moment I'm just going to connect the Rendercam01 here, and as I've connected here, and it still doesn't change because you need to enable any particular resolution here. So basically we have some presets here, but this is not that much, so we can create our custom presets here, and I will talk about that in the later tutorials. So at this moment let's stick with this, something like this. Maybe we can reduce, maybe we can go for 1280 and 720, and still it doesn't change because we need to adjust screen window. So basically you need to select either one. So if you want to preserve the composition of your height, or if you want to preserve the space that you make in according to your width. So basically I'm just going to select height so that it will place the camera accordingly. So as you can see here, this is working fine, and we can set the camera. So once you're happy with the camera, and now the important thing, so let's select our Rendercam node, and we need to lock the camera now. So now I'm going to make this not interactive. Basically, if you have a camera and if you are not able to rotate the camera in the viewport, so the first place that you have to check is the camera's node, select the camera node of the particular camera, and make sure the make interactive is turned on or not. So in this case I'm just going to disable this. So now if you can see here, I'm not able to move, so this will preserve you from accidentally moving your camera. So we have set the first frame, the Rendercam1, and now I'm going to select our Rendercam2 and press F. Maybe I can focus on the character Remy, and yeah, let's select our render settings at this moment, and so let's select our Rendercam2 and press middle mouse and drag and drop here, and now our Rendercam2 is selected. So we can just frame this as you want, and if you want to change the focal length or something like this, you can use this and change the FOV to 50 or something like this. Cool. So it's just working fine, and yeah, let's set our camera Rendercam to RenderCam 1 for now, and yeah, change this. Okay, we have our RenderCam 1 like this and RenderCam 2 this way. So yeah, so we haven't connected to render settings for RenderCam 2, so that's why we are having this square film gate. So that is completely fine. And now we have our render settings, and most of the times if you haven't installed any any renderer, so it will be by default showing to 3DL, so which means 3D light. So if you have installed Renderman, so it will be available as PRman. If you are installed Arnold, so it will be available as Arnold. So you can even set your default render settings, the renderer here. So it is a environment variable kind of stuff. So it is related to create your batch file. So bat file. So I have a different bat file to work with. So if you are not familiar with this, so basically I have a Katana launcher. So once I enable this, so you can see here, this is the Katana bat file, so Katana launcher. So basically so this way, so you can just configure any version of Katana that you want. So it is very easy and very simple. So so if you want to update with Katana different version like 5 or 4, so you can just, if you install in your computer, and all you need to do is you need to update the version here, and the same way for Renderman and other stuffs. So as you can see here, I've set default render to PRman. So if you set your default render to Arnold, so it will by default show Arnold. So at this moment I haven't installed Arnold in my computer for Katana, so it doesn't appear here. So yeah, so that's it for bat file. So if you want to know more about the bat file, so we have so many tutorials in YouTube, and so you can have a look into that. So yeah, and so we have PRman enabled here, and so now if I go to RenderCam 1, I'm just going to go to the monitor, and you have 2 different options to launch your render. So basically you can right click on the node that you want to render. So you can see we have preview rendering and live rendering. Basically preview render is just like a render in the render view, and live render is the IPR. So I'll just show you the preview render first. So cool. So as you can see here, everything is pretty much dark, and if I press A, we have something in the scene, but since we don't have any light in the scene, so everything comes black. So let's create a light first. So basically, in order to create light in Katana, you need to use the Gaffer 3 node. So Gaffer 3 is responsible for all your lighting stuffs in Katana. So yeah, so once you create a Gaffer 3, and I'm going to just enable its parameter visibility, and so this is the Gaffer 3's parameter. So basically here is the space where we can create our lights. So you can right click and add a PRman light. So if you have Arnold installed, so you will have a list a menu that comes with Arnold lights. So basically in this case I just want to use create a PXR dome light. So create a dome light, and let's launch the IPR. So as you can see here, so again, so this root world light Gaffer. So this is how our lighting works. So this is how our lighting appears in our scene graph. So basically I will rename this to make the scene organized. So I'm going to rename this to maybe, so at this moment let's keep a simple name. So yeah, and I'm going to just launch the render and see if the light is working or not, because now you can see here whatever that's resolved here will be appear in the viewer and the render view. So now you can see here we have our lights so working just fine. So cool. So now, so this is our preview render. So let me connect our IPR, let me connect our HDRI image to our SkyDome, and also let's see how to launch IPR and work with this. So in order to stop any render, you can just press escape on when you hold your mouse cursor on top of your monitor, or you can just press this button, so it will help you to interrupt the render, stop the render. So yeah, so our scene is pretty much organized and everything is cool. So yeah, maybe we forgot to add some backdrops, so that's fine. So you have the basic idea of it. So yeah, so let's connect our the texture. Before that, let's launch the IPR, so I can explain you something. So in order to launch the IPR, you can just right click on top of the node that you want, and you can press like this, or you can see here we have our scene graph resolver showing that. So whatever node that is being resolved in the node graph will be available here, and you can also right click and do the live render here. Cool. So we have our live render is turned on. I'm just going to browse and so get some HDRI images. So basically in this case I'd like to use maybe the machine room HDRI. So as you can see here, I've connected my HDRI image, but it doesn't appear in the IPR. So basically it has to be updated, but it doesn't, because basically we have seen the viewer visibility here, but we have another stuff called live render updates. So whatever that is being selected the same way we selected in the viewer visibility will be updated in the IPR. So let's say if I want my light to be appear in the live render updates, so I'm just going to enable this, and now you can see here we have our HDRI now updated. So let's say I just want to connect a different texture to this, so maybe I can connect a cloudy texture, cloudy HDRI. So now you can see here we have changed our HDRI here, so it's just working fine, and you can just rotate the y-axis, and so basically it works, but we have the cloudy HDRI, so it doesn't appear that much. So now you can see everything that's related to light is working fine. But let's say if I want to change something in the camera, or maybe like, okay, so let me change the scale of it. So I'm just going to increase the uniform scale, but it doesn't affect. So basically in order to make this affect, so we need to select our character Remy and make this select the particular group and its children's as well by pressing shift and left mouse button, and you know, now everything is updated properly. So yeah, so we always need to keep that in mind. Basically this is another optimization method to work with huge scenes. So when you're working with spaceships or a city, so you don't have to include everything into the live render, so it basically takes so much time. So but we are working on simple scene, we don't have to worry too much about that. So I'm just going to enable, so whatever that comes under the word. So yeah, so okay, so the same way we have another object option. So if you want to render any particular geometry to be in the render view, so you can use this render visibility flag. So basically I'm just going to turn off this live render, and I'm just going to enable just the dragon. So I have pressed shift and left mouse button, so I've selected everything under this group. So now if I launch the IPR, so I'm going to show you another way to launch the IPR. So basically when you press Ctrl and backslash, so it will actually launch the render that you have previously launched. So the previously launched render was render settings node, so it automatically launched that particular render for us. So yeah, as I have enabled this, but it doesn't appear here because we need to enable the switch. So it's just a checkbox, but we need to enable the switch. So as I enable the switch, everything is gone, because technically the dragon geometry should be appear in the render view, but it doesn't, because it is very simple. So most of the time, so whatever that we include in the render visibility viewer will be available here, but we haven't included our lights into this. Basically, I'm going to shift and right my left mouse button, so that now you can see here. So we just enable our dragon geo to the render view. So this is really cool actually. So yeah, it helps a lot when you're working with a huge scene. So I'm just going to disable and enable the character Remy. So cool. Yeah, this worked cool. But let's say every time when you want to select something and select your light and camera, so it is a bit of a tedious process when you're working with a huge scene, and you always need to search and select your geometries this way. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but we can just disable this, and you can just select and click this, and you can just launch the render. Okay, so basically maybe we need to, okay, so it's turned on actually, so we need to make sure it's turned off in order to render only selected objects. So once you select anything here, and so it won't update in the live render, so you need to just select and launch the render again. So it will render only the geometry that you selected, so it doesn't select anything. So now if you deselect or change your selection, it doesn't matter, so everything is work fine. So yeah, so now we have seen so much of the user interface and concepts and creating the stuffs. So we have the Gaffer 3. Now let's look into the PRMan render settings. So PRMan stands for photorealistic Renderman. So basically the Renderman nodes. So we have dedicated Renderman nodes that are stocked with PRMan. So basically PRMan camera settings, PRMan integrated settings, and so many. So we will talk about all these stuffs in the later videos, but we're going to talk about some basic stuffs now. So the first thing is PRMan global statement. So you can just press tab and type PGS shortly to get your PRMan global statement node. So once you add your PRMan global statement node, so as you can see here, even before we add our global statement node, it's just working fine, because there are several default settings that has been comes with Katana for us once we installed our render engine. So now if you want to make any changes on top of that, you need to add your PRMan global statements or the particular node, and you need to make the changes accordingly. So yeah, we have so many settings here. So at this moment I'm not interested to show or confuse you that much, so I'm just going to, so we have some presets here, quality presets. You can just click here and use this at this moment, so we can talk about the render settings in the later tutorial. So this is just for showing how to connect and access to your render settings. So yeah, let's select the intermediate quality presets. So yeah, so everything is now working fine, and so let's create the material and connect our texture and see how things are working when it comes to material and things like that. So before that, so okay, I haven't explained about the merge. So basically when you connect something, so when you create a port like this, so we have entries available here, so you can remove from here as well, and you can rename your streams as well. So in order to rename, so I'm just going to rename this to RenderCam 01. Now you can see we have our connections are renamed instead of just showing input 1 and input 2. So yeah, so you can organize your node graph by this way as well, and you can also enable some other things using this view. So maybe you can enable the snap nodes to grid. So basically what it does is when you move any node, so it will snap, so it will create a grid and it will snap the nodes accordingly according to that grid. So, and we have another thing which is so dim nodes that are dim nodes not contributing to viewed node. Basically when you enable this, so I'm not sure whether you can see it or not. So let me stop the IPR and enable from here. So as you can see here, so these nodes are not contributing anything to the scene graph. As you can see here, we don't have our lights because our gaffer 3 is not resolved at this moment. So whatever that comes about this connection is appeared here. So once I enable this, now the gaffer 3 is highlighted, but the other nodes are grayed out. So this is really a good way whether to understand if our node is contributing or not. So we will talk about this in the future tutorials, so it helps a lot. So yeah, so now let's create some more, one more backdrop. Yeah, I'm just going to double click and rename this to camera and press OK. So if you want to change the scale of it, select the letters and increase the font scale, and you can change the color as well. And yeah, let me scale this. Oh, okay. So yeah, this way. Let's color this. Yeah, maybe green and oops. Yeah. Okay, so let's rename this to Geo. Press enter and maybe we can increase the scale of it. Okay, so basically the idea, so we have our lights here, but now we need to work on the materials now. So basically when you want to create materials, so you have a material node, but this is not that much useful for us. So basically when you see this, so you can add a shader. So if you have installed Arnold, so you can see Arnold materials as well. So at this moment, PRMan, so so it will enable the PRMan BXDF shader. So if you want, you can create a displacement or whatever. But let's focus on the PXR surface. So I'm just going to select our PXR surface from this, and when I expand this arrow, so you can see the options now. So as you can see here, we have everything is there, so as you can see here, but we don't have the options to connect our textures here. So yeah, that's why I already told you. So this is not useful. So when you connect it, it will just work fine, but so it doesn't work. You can't just connect any textures to this. So let's say I just connected my material here, and you can see the name is material, so it will automatically create a root wall material and material 1. So you can just rename this. I'm going to rename this to test, and you can see everything is working fine. And I'm going to, so we have created the material, but we need to assign this to our geometry. So in order to assign this, we need to tab and press material assign node. So I've created a material assign node. I'm going to connect it. So now what I'm going to do is, so enable this for editing in the viewer, parameter. So first, okay, let me explain something. So mostly Katana, so almost most of the nodes, so has some this field that expect for some input from the scene graph location. Basically, every node is responsible for do some operations. So in order to do the operations, we need to mention so the operands to apply that particular operation. So so most of the nodes has this. So some nodes has a different kind of operations, the inputs, so it just has the path. But when I come to material assign, so you can see here we have something called add statement. So in this, when I click paths, so it will create just a path node. So you can't just actually type and edit this. You can just connect anything that you want, press shift mouse, middle mouse, and drag and drop. So basically you can't edit this. You can just right click, but you don't have any options to edit this. Let's say if I have another dragon and I just wanna double click and add one more letter in this, so it doesn't work that way. So you can connect as many scene graph locations as you want. So but yeah, so it works just like this. But we have other options to do the same. So we have custom and we have collections. So collections is a different topic, so we will talk about the collections in the next videos. So I'll explain later. So we have something called custom. So custom is basically, so you can type anything. So here, so basically if I want to assign the material to our dragon geometry, you can just drag and drop here, and you can make the changes as you want, like this. At this moment we have connected our connected this path here. So basically we can create wildcards or anything. So whatever that you connected here, so you can just so you can create as many custom cell statements. Basically this is called cell statements here. So as many custom cell statements as you want, you can create like this. And yeah, so once you so I'm just going to copy, and you can just rename and select whatever that you want this way. So yeah, so yeah, basically we have our custom cell statements here. So now you can see here we have this small arrow buttons here. So once I click this, you can see find and select in scene graph and find and display results. Basically it helps us to select the geometry that we have defined here. So basically if I so we have many custom cell statements here. So I'm just going to connect another objects here like this. So if I want to select everything that has been assigned under this particular cell statement tab here, so you can just click and find and select, so it will select all three. But if I just want to select a particular custom statement, so you can just click here and find and select, so it will just select that. So basically if you you can even create wildcards in this. So basically when I expand this, the dragon geometry, so we have we have this geometry called upper teeth and two shape. So let's say I just want to, when you drag and drop like this on an existing custom cell statement, so it enables both. So if I find and select, you can see it select both the geos at the same time. So but at this moment I don't want this. I just want to have this just for the reference. I just want to select all the teeth geometries, but I don't want to grab all the teeth geometries one by one from here and drag and drop. So it doesn't work. So it is a tedious process. But I just grabbed only one teeth for example. So and I'm just going to create some wildcard. So basically I just want to remove the words except teeth. So basically what it does is, so I'm just going to explain you. So basically when you add two slashes here, so it's a invalid statement, but let me keep editing this. And so when you enable two forward slashes here, and so it will so you don't have to add anything here. Just I'm going to add teeth to shape. So now if I enable this here, so it doesn't select anything because we made some mistake. So basically our teeth geometry start like this. So I'm just going to press type a star here so that it create a wildcard. Basically when you put a 2 star, it just skip everything after this, this dragon ABC after this location. So it will skip everything and it will go into all the groups and its subgroups, and it will look for this particular name. Actually, we don't have anything called T2 shape, so that's why when I just select this, it doesn't work that way. So but when I want, so this is our geometry, so I'm just going to remove this, and now if I select this, it automatically select our this particular group, I mean the polymesh. But I want to select all the teeth, so I'm just going to put a star so that it skip whatever, so that start with, but it will always search T2 shape. It will skip all the other that comes before that. So now if I select, you can see it select two different T2 shape, because so it just skip the upper and lower whatever. So if you have something called mid or mid 2, upper 3, so it just skip and select all the T2 shapes. So select all the shape that ends with T2 shape. So in this case, we don't want even this 2. So I'm just going to remove these stuffs and type a star, and now I'm going to just find and select. Now as you can see here, so it's really cool. So we just select whatever that comes with teeth and shape. So now you can see here we don't have tongue or anything selected, so our body is not selected. So in order to make sure, so you just need to, in order to select all the shape nodes, so I'm just going to remove everything and star shape. So now you can see here, so now it selects the tongue and teeth and body, everything. So but you can see here it just select our under this dragon ABC, because we have mentioned up to this point. So yeah, it really helps a lot. So let's say if you have hundreds of teeth, maybe you have thousands of metal pieces in a spaceship, so you don't have to select everything manually, and you don't need to assign. So you can just create something like this, wildcards, and it's just working fine. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here in the Remy. So let me enable from here. So actually it doesn't work because our naming conventions for Remy is a bit different. So okay, it just ends with object. So I'm just going to rename this to object. Okay, so now if I select this, it select all the objects, as you can see here. So actually this is not a good idea, because if you are having thousands of geometry in a spaceship or a city, so it will expand everything and it will enable the geometry for scene graph viewer visibility. So let's say if I turn this on, so it will enable everything for viewer visibility. So let me explain you. So I'm just going to double click on top of Remy and double click on top of dragon to close everything. So yeah, as you can see here, now if I select find and select results, so now you can see here it took some time even for the small geometry, but if you enable this for big geometry, so it won't work. So in order to avoid that, I don't want to enable the object level, but I want to enable the final group of this, so that it doesn't care about expanding and viewing here. So I'm just going to so okay, the name is geo, but let me close the groups, and yeah, instead of using objects, I'm going to use geo here. So now if I find and select, so you can see here everything is very fast because we haven't selected the shape geo. Once you select and make it open, so it will take a lot of time. So in order to avoid the complexity, so don't select the polymesh level stuff, so just select the final group of the geometry, and that is more than enough. So the same way I'm going to enable the dragons group. So yeah, I think this is fine. Yeah, this is not the naming is not actually that good here. So yeah, that's fine. So let's keep this as it is. So so we have a material assigned here, but let's remove. Okay, let's keep both the guys here, but at this moment let's work just on top of the dragon for now. So you can even press D on hover your mouse on top of a node that you want and press D to disable that particular node. So you can't disable multiple nodes at a time, but you need to hover your mouse cursor like this, or you can just edit and oops. So edit. You need to press this toggle disable states so that you can press Alt D. So actually that is a shortcut. So okay, so yeah, cool. So so the same way you can disable anything. So you need to hover your mouse cursor on top of this particular cell statement and press D, so it will just disable this. Now if I enable find and select, so now you can see we have just our the dragon and just the plane, the ground plane. So maybe we can create a group for our ground plane to make the scene more organized. So yeah, cool. So now okay, let's get back to our material story. So we have our material node, and now we need to connect our material here to just the dragon geo. So we don't even want this ground plane. So in order to assign the material, so first we need to connect the geometries that we want to assign to, and then we need to connect our material here in this like this. So once you connect your material, so we need to make sure if the material is connected or not. So in order to make sure, you can basically enable a column or row, the column that tells the materials, show the material that are assigned to that particular geometry. So in order to enable that, go to preferences and go to scene graph. So let's, in the user columns, I'm going to enable this material assign like this. So once you enable this, so press enter. So yeah, it doesn't appear, and right click, resize all to contents. So now you can see here, now it's available. Maybe sometimes it will be scaled like this, so your columns will be hidden this way. So you need to right click and resize to content or resize all to content, so it will resize everything accordingly. So as you can see here, so we have our material assigned tab here. So let's check whether our material is assigned or not. So at this moment you can see our material assigned. Our material is assigned on each polyshape node. So yeah, so this is just for the sake of explaining about the wildcards, but we can actually assign our materials on top of the parent level. So yeah, as you can see here, once I drag and drop on the add statements, everything is gone now. So we don't want that. I'm just going to disable this too, and I'm going to create a custom cell, and let's drag and drop our dragon geo group. So yeah, now you can see here, so our material is now being assigned to the master group now. So yeah, that's really cool. So let's enable our materials to the IPR updates. So yeah, let's launch the IPR to see if everything is working or not. Okay, so it throws some error because, as you can see here, so yeah, this is actually good. So when you have some error and your render is not started, so when you see something like this red line, so you need to go to the render log and you need to see what is the error is. So render log is responsible for showing your the status or any errors that related to the render that we've launched. So now you can see the Gaffer 3, actually this is the node that we have launched rendered from. So basically the error is the camera root world camera is not found in scene, because yeah, as you can see here, it is there in the viewport, I mean the scene graph, but it doesn't connect it to our render settings. So basically, so yeah, so because we haven't enabled our render settings, so our render settings node is not resolved for the scene graph. So this is where we assign our camera to the renderer. So now if I enable this and launch the IPR again, cool. So as you can see here, we have this the material is just working fine. So I'm just going to the material and select. So maybe let's change the color to see it if it is working. Yeah, it's working fine. So we have everything. We have our materials, and we have our specular. All the stuffs are working fine, but we don't have any options to connect our textures here. So that is really not useful to use this material. So we have, in order to connect our textures to the material, so we will use a different method. So I'm going to delete this and let's stop the IPR and let's create one more merge node and connect it here. Cool. Let's create one more input here and let's press space and expand this. I'm just going to make some space for our materials. So I'm just going to create a network material create. So this is the node that is responsible for creating materials and connecting textures and so whatever we do in IS hypershade, things like that. So you can do some crazy materials with your words. So yeah, let's connect this network material create here and press space to see it in the parameter view, and let's enable and change its name to dragon material. Maybe we can we usually use NN to this is for this stands for network material and dragon material. So basically for material we call mat, and for material assignment we call MA. So basically we need to rename our material assignment as well. So this assignment is going to be the so dragon MA. So MA stands for material assignments. So yeah, so let's copy this and assign this to here. So basically it doesn't accept the same naming that we given here. So yeah, we just keep this enum dragon at this moment, so that's fine. So we have created our network material here, and let's click this little arrow, and so that it will directly bring you into that particular network material create, and you can work on your materials here. So if you want to go out, you can just use either buttons like this. It will just take one step back. So, or you can dive into your parent node, or you can just go to the home. So like this way. So let's dive into the enum dragon, and I'm just going to create the PXR surface. So basically if you installed multiple renderers, so you need to make sure, so what is your current working renderer. So in order to mention that, you need to press shift and tab, so it will show you the renderers basically. So if you install 3D Light, Pureman, Arnold and everything, so it will be visible in the list, so you can select whatever that you want. So in this case, let's say let's for instance, let's select USD and press tab. So it will only show you the USD related nodes, and press shift tab again and select Pureman. Now you can able to select the Pureman now. So I'm just going to PS. Okay, so PS and select our PXR surface here. So now you can see here we are now able to select our create our PXR surface. Now you can see here we have different ports for us, and if you have installed Arnold or any other renderer, so you will have another section for that particular renders. So at this moment we don't have that much, so we only have just the PRMan and the USD. So basically the USD comes with Katana by default. So yeah, so I'm just going to connect the PXR surface to the BXDF, because this is, as you can see here, the out is BXDF out. So once you need to connect, so if you are working on displacement, so you can just create the displacement PXR displace node, and you can see here this is displace out. Once you select this, and yeah, now you can see the displacement connection is highlighted, and you can connect your displacement like this, and you can connect your displacement textures here. So yeah, so this way you can just connect your displacement textures, and you can work on your displacements. At this moment we don't care about displacement for now. I'm just going to delete this, and I've created the PXR surface, and I'm going to create the PXR texture node. So basically, yeah, PXR texture node, and I'm going to press space and select our texture. So yeah, and I'm going to browse the textures, and it is in my Jessica Academy folder, and Katana, Dragon, the textures, Albedo. So basically when it comes to PRMan and Katana, basically the PRMan works only with the TEX texture, so it doesn't work with EXR or JPEG or any other formats. So you need to convert all your textures into TEX. So if you haven't done that before, so it is pretty straightforward. There are so many tutorials available on the internet that you can refer to. So I've already converted one, so I'm just going to select one texture. So this is a UDM based textures. So in order to select this, so you need to, after this albedo, so instead of using the number, the UDM number, we need to use the UDM token. So the open and close arrow, and we need to type UDIM in caps, and press enter. So yeah, that's it, and you need to change your Atlas style to Mari, and this will select your textures. So in order to first test that, so I'm just going to connect the result RGB to the diffuse and color. So this is pretty straightforward. You need to press your click left mouse button on top of any port that you want, and you need to drag and drop here, so it will make connections. So basically if you connect a vector or a XYZ input or a color input that has 3 float values like RGB, so you need to get this green connection, and if you're working for float like 1, 2, 3, 0 point something like that numbers, so you need to select any float like this blue color output and input. So you cannot connect the green to the blue input. So you always keep that in mind. So yeah, so we have connected our result RGB. I'm just going to rename this to come, and yeah, so we have connected our textures. So now we need to assign the material to the material assignment. So in this case we have this, but now we need to change our material assign to NM dragon material that we have created here. We need to make sure we have connected this using a merge node. So so if you have multiple NM, network materials like this, you can use another merge here, and you can connect that merge here, and it will appear here. So since we are using the same name here, it doesn't appear. So maybe let's change this to test material. Now you can see our material is available here. So let me delete this. Okay, let's keep the merge node at this moment. So if maybe we can create some materials for the future. So yeah, let's keep this as it is for now. And yeah, we have assigned our material. So in order to make sure, so let's see the material tab and resize all to contents. So we have our enum dragon material is assigned to dragon ABC. So cool. So let's launch the IPR or preview render to see if things are working. Cool. Yeah, our textures are working fine. So maybe we can change the lighting or rotate it. So yeah, so maybe we can change the light to a daylight, like a broad sunlight like this. HDRI parking lot. Cool. So yeah, maybe we can rotate the light. And there's a cool way if you have multiple lights, like so we have 10 different lights. So if you want to select everything, so sometimes you'll get confusion. So if you select here, so you need to make the selection here to change its rotation or things like that. So in order to make that, so you can just in the Gaffer 3 node, in the sync selection, you can press in and out. So let's say I have another light, this light here. So basically you can see both the lights are there, but if I select our dome light, so it doesn't affect here. If I select the disk light here, it doesn't affect in the scene graph. So in order to sync this, we need to select, if you want you can just select out, but I will select in and out. So whatever you select here, it will affect the Gaffer 3 node, and whatever select in the Gaffer 3 node, it just affect here. So this is really cool actually. So I'm just going to select this and delete it. Okay, so we can do it this way here. So we just have the light here, and you can just rotate to place our dome light this way. So yeah, this is working fine. We have our textures are working fine. So yeah, maybe we can disable this and launch another render, or maybe we can enable this and select dragon and ground, both the guys, and light render. Cool. So we have our ground and our dragon as well. So this is really cool. And let's assign a quick material to our ground. So in this case, I'm just going to use a material. That's fine. So so let's rename this to ground, and maybe we can add it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. So yeah, so I copy and pasted it here, and I'm just going to rename this to ground MA, and I'm just going to assign the ground material here, and let's delete everything here and just yeah, remove this and just drag and drop your ground material here. Oh, sorry, my bad. So just select the ground and drag and drop. So yeah, that's it. So we have our ground material, and now we need to select our BXDF. So since we don't have to connect any textures in this, I'm just going to use this simple material. So yeah, I think this will work. So initially it was so much distracted, so now everything is working fine. So we don't want to introduce any spec to this ground material, so it will affect our render time. So let's leave it as it is at this moment, and let's focus on the network material create at this moment. So let's import other textures also. So first, before that, I'm going to create the PXR constant. So in order to see the textures in the flat shader, so I'm just going to connect this here like this, and to see whether everything is working fine or not. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here like this, and I'm just going to rename this quickly to get the yeah, so yeah, I'm going to import the spec. So yeah, I'm just going to connect this to our pixel constant, and instead of using the albedo, I'm just going to connect a different texture. Before that, I'm just going to copy this UDM token because I don't want to edit every time. So I would like to just create this, load this specular weight at this moment, and let's replace it with this. So yeah, as you can see here, this is a good example. So when you're working with your textures and in the PXR texture, so if the textures are missing, so the missing color will take place here. So let's say if you have a different color here, so that will appear here. So in this case, let's leave it at the default color for now. So since we have made some typo here, so our texture was not loaded properly, so now you can see everything is just working fine. So yeah, so here is our spec weight, and I'm just going to copy this once again, and I'm just going to load the normal. Okay, so I'll just load the file and I'll resume the video. So yeah, I have loaded the textures that I want. So basically, so the textures that I've loaded is, so I have loaded the spec. So basically, we can use this for specor, and I have imported the normal. Oh, okay. So this is, I've wrongly renamed. So this is subsurface weight. So plus weight, and now this should be the normal. So let's rename this to normal. So yeah, I have imported all these 4 textures. So I'm just going to connect this now back to our PRman BXDF. Now I'm just going to introduce a specular to this. So I'm just going to change this to physical. So I'll explain about the PRman shaders and materials in the future tutorials. For now, I'm just going to introduce the workflow, the basics of Katana and Renderman. So yeah, so I'm just going to introduce some specular. So I'm just going to select the physical and introduce some specular here, and so yeah, maybe we can introduce our roughness. Maybe we can directly connect our spec, or specular, the roughness, the red channel of this specular texture to primary specular and roughness. So yeah, I think we need to, maybe we need to enable the linearize, so that, okay, so no, it's not working. So basically linearize is the making the textures linear or not. So since we are using EXR, so we don't have to make that linearize. So everything will working fine. So maybe we can introduce some remap. So PXR remap, and so let's connect it like this, and to result OR, and I would like to increase the output range, the minimum, to get some rough look on it. Okay, so cool. So I think this is fine for this tutorial, and I'm just going to connect this result RGB, the red channel, to specular edge color. Okay, so let's connect this to result RGB. So yeah, cool. We have some amount of specular that is going on at this moment, so that is fine. Okay, so in order to make sure at this moment, let's reduce the gain and see. So we have the textures working just fine. Maybe we can reduce the roughness to see it Okay, let's reduce the roughness once we add some details. So it will break the specular even further. So I'm going to now connect our normal map. So in order to connect our normal map to PXR surface, we need to create a PXR bump and connect our result RGB to the input bump. Okay. Oh, my bad. So we need to create PXR normal map. So if you are working on a black and white bump map, so you need to create a PXR bump. But since we are working on normal map, so we need to use PXR normal and connect our result RGB to PXR normal map. So in the result N, now has to connect it to PXR surface globals and bump. So once you connected this, now you can see here we have a lot of details now. So if you want, you can bump up the value in the PXR normal map and yeah, enable this, and so you can change this value to 2. So yeah, let's keep this. So okay, so let's get back our color. So before, I think instead of using just the color, we can go for subsurface scattering. So we need to, in order to use the subsurface, we need to reduce the gain of the diffuse to 0 and make the subsurface gain to 1. So now we need to connect our color texture to our subsurface color. So once you connect it, as you can see here, so now our subsurface scattering is working fine. Maybe we need to change our lighting. So yeah, you can just select our light here, and yeah, let's go here and select our light. So we need to select the Gaffer 3, and yeah, let's rotate the light to see some backlight to judge our lighting. So the subsurface scattering. So yeah, I think this light will work. So we can clearly judge how much the subsurface scattering that we have at this moment. So by default, the subsurface scattering loads with the exponential path tracing, but yeah, that's fine. So we have our everything is loading fine. I think this color is also working fine, so we can leave it as it is. But if you want, you can just tweak it. So we can reduce the green and introduce some pink color kind of stuff, or reddish tones. So but I don't want that. So at this moment we can keep this subtle. So yeah, because we won't have that much of blood flow on the wings. So yeah, that's fine. So in order to make more scattering on this area, you can just play with the mean free path distance. But yeah, we will talk about all the subsurface scattering stuffs in the later tutorials, but for now we can use this. So as you can see here, so it affects by in overall, so in general, so we don't want that way. So we have another map called triples weight, so it just affects only on the wings and the inner mouth areas. So I'm just going to instead of directly connect this like this, so I'm going to use this value to 10. Maybe you can reset this. I'm just going to use a PXR composite. Maybe, yeah, we can use PXR blend. So we can use, we can blend two different textures or two different colors, just like that. So I'm just going to yeah. So yeah, basically I'm going to just connect this to this constant, and yeah, so now instead of connecting this to PXDF, So you can just enable this particular material icon, so it will enable you the material solo. So basically you need to hover your mouse on top of the node that you want and press 1, and so maybe we can connect it manually. So yeah, I think it's not working, so maybe we need to connect with direct stuffs like this and press 1. Okay, some nodes are actually not working with material solo, so we will talk about this later. And yeah, let's connect this to the PRMan BXDF at this moment. So yeah, let's connect this result RGB into this, and I'm just going to I want the bottom color to be 10, and the top color, I want this to be more value, so maybe like 25 or something like that. So now I'm going to, maybe first let's have a red color and see it visually, and let's decide later. So we need to connect our skin color to the alpha, and since we have more than 1, so it doesn't appear here. Maybe we can see the blue, and oh, sorry, yeah. So yeah, now you can see here, this is our subsurface weight. So so wherever we have the red channel, we want to have a high number of value in it. So I'm just going to keep this to 10, and for this I would like to have, this yeah, let's dial our value here. Okay, like this. So now, yeah, now I'm going to use this blend and connect it to our mean free path distance. So not in the mean free path color, but the distance. So basically, mean free path color is where we will define the color of our subsurface, the inner flesh color. So we don't want to disturb that at this moment, because we are pretty much okay with that color. So I've just connected to this mean free path distance. This is the overall multiplier for this mean free path color. So yeah, so let's connect this back to our PRMan BXDF and see it. Okay, so something is not working, so maybe we can disconnect this and see it. So yeah, it's just working fine like this, and so yeah, we can. Okay, so I think we have connected the wrong input, I mean the wrong output. So yeah, we have connected to this, but let's say I think yeah, so this clamp output was enabled so that the value will be clamped to 1. So since we added so much of values like 25 and 10, so in order to make that work, we need to make sure this clamp output is not turned on. So it will be, by default, it will be turned on in many nodes. So yeah, so you always have to keep that in mind. So still we have the values are a bit high here, so in these areas, so maybe we can reduce the bottom color so that it will affect. So maybe we can go for 5. Cool. So yeah, I think this will work. So maybe we can go for our lighting. So, and there's another cool way. So basically, when you in the parameter view or in the scene graph, so you can see we have some arrows. So you can just click and you can use it like a browsers back and forward buttons, so you can choose whatever that you want. So, and you can right click and you can select, you can see the history of the nodes that you have selected before. And so in this case I just want to select Gaffer 3. So the same way you can do here as well. So at this moment I don't want to mess with this, so let's keep this as it is. And here, so I would like to rotate the light, or maybe reset the rotation, so and change the lighting angle as we want. Yeah, I think we can keep the lights something like this, and you can enable this ROI on, so that you will have this window, and you can crop the region that you want to render. So this is really useful one. And yeah, there's another tip I can tell you. Okay, so let's talk about that in the later tutorials. So I think this is fine. So I think things are working well for us. And yeah, I think this is enough for the introduction of a tutorial. So maybe we can reset the ROI and give it a full render, and don't forget to turn off this and launch the full render. So yeah, and at this moment we haven't focused on the Remy character Remy, so because that's a different approach, different style of approach that we need to do for look dev that asset. So I'm planning that for the future tutorial once I introduce some advanced Katana topics. So yeah, let's stay tuned for that. And okay, let's launch a render to see it. Okay, let's turn off this guy, so he's pretty much distracting. So, and let's launch another render and see it. So yeah, we have our renders done. So I think the normal maps intensity is a bit too much. Maybe we can reduce this a bit, and I'm going to show you how to create another branch for render another camera. So I have for timing, I've just disabled this guy, and I'm going to just enable, and by pressing Alt D, and from this render settings I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and I'm going to create another branch from this, and yeah, I'm going to load the render cam 2. So now you can see here it doesn't contribute anything to the scene graph, so that it is grayed out at this moment. So once I enable this, so this is grayed out now, and this is working fine. So yeah, so now if I render this from here, but before we're doing that, let's reduce the normal. Okay, yeah, so maybe we can keep this for 1.5. So yeah, let's launch the render at the render cam 2. Cool. So yeah, now you can see here. So once I enable this camera angle, so to render, so it will render this way. So this is how we usually manage our multi-shot workflows that we will talk in the later tutorials. So yeah, so that's it for this tutorial. So thanks for watching.